It is absolute madness how good these earbuds sound. And if you are like me, a sound purist, and sound quality is the most important factor that you're looking for in your wireless earbuds, I am so glad you found this video, because this is KZ VXS Pro, and I am here to tell you all about them. What's up, guys? This is David M., the Polish Potato. I am going to upgrade my favorite sounding earbud of the year one more time. The previous title went to KZ Xtra. This is the best sounding earbud of 2024 right now. It's called KZ VXS Pro, and I will tell you why I think so in a second. I have to make a disclaimer before I do that, because there's a lot that these earbuds don't do at all. And I'm telling you this right now in the beginning of the video because I don't want to waste your time. I myself don't like watching clickbait videos because I always feel like they're just annoying. So I don't want to do clickbait to you. And I'm telling you right away, there are microphones in these earbuds, which means you can make and receive phone calls, but there is no active noise cancellation. There is no transparency, and there is no equalizer of any kind, not even the presets, which means there is no fine-tuning of the sound or even switching to any different sound profiles that were pre-designed by the manufacturer. They just don't have any of these features. So if that's what you're looking for in your earbuds, these are not for you. But if you're looking for the best absolute sound quality, then keep listening and keep watching. So let's start with describing the sound. They come with the type of bass that I absolutely love, because it's not just bass that sounds good. It's the bass that you feel like somewhere here in the back of your head and in your brain, and as Jack Black would say, in your mind.
It will test your head and your mind and your brain too.
Like what you feel when you have a nice subwoofer in your home audio setup. And having said that, this bass is not overwhelming. Like in a lot of other earbuds that are heavily bass tuned, the bass kind of takes over and clouds other frequencies. This doesn't happen here. This bass sort of lives in its own plane of existence, completely not messing with other frequencies and not interfering with other sounds, other instruments in your music, which is so beautiful. So obviously they have a large sound staging, and it's absolutely amazing how much that improves your listening experience. So, for example, in these two songs that I just talked about when I was reviewing Moondrop Mocha, I said that Sally's vocal gets this additional layer of warmth and sweetness, and it's absolutely true when you're listening to the KZ VXS Pro. Tell Me How It Feels is such a cool song to listen to in earbuds that have a broad soundstage, because you can hear all these instruments around you. If you listen to classics like Thriller by Michael Jackson, you can hear the bass guitar all the way on the left, while you can hear the little cowbells all the way on the right.
I gotta have more cowbell.
And then if you are a fan of stronger music and you want to listen to the kings of metal like Avenged Sevenfold, Hail to the King has never sounded better yet in any earbuds that I have experienced this far. Megadeth, Countdown to Extinction, I dare you to go through the entire album and not fall in love with it all over again if you ever loved it before. Rude by Magic, it's such a cool song, layered with all kinds of treble richness, with hi-hats and cymbals playing all around you, and then songs that are piano heavy like Running to the Sea by Royce Kopf or The Way It Is by Bruce Hornsby. Piano is such a beautiful instrument when recreated properly, and it has never sounded better than in these earbuds. Instrument separation is second to none. When it comes to the rest of the frequency spectrum, KZ likes dropping the mids, and so they did in this case, but it didn't take away anything from the vocals, anything from the presence region. You can hear that this is the typical KZ signature sound curve that is U-shaped. It's not really V-shaped in this case. It's more like U-shaped, but it's not as drastic as it is in other earbuds that they make. And there's so much clarity, and this especially comes into play when you start moving towards the highs. They are just so beautifully detailed and rounded up exactly before that spot where they would start becoming harsh and unpleasant. So this is just a beautiful sounding earbud. But again, it's for those of you who are hunting for sound signature, the best quality sound signature you can have, and you don't really care about other aspects that a lot of other earbuds bring into the game. When it comes to ergonomics, that's when things are starting to get a little tricky. They basically are shaped like wireless IEMs. This is what KZ is good at. This is what they are great at. So they basically made these into wireless IEMs. So naturally they have IEM's shape, and they also are meant to go deep into your ear canal. So you have to stick them in there and twist them and make sure you're creating perfect seal. That's when you really experience their beauty. But the tricky part is that the nozzles are relatively large. So I recognize this might not be for everybody. Don't hurt yourself when you're doing this. And of course, work with the ear tips and pick the size that's the best for you. I had to go with smaller size. Normally I go with medium in whatever other earbuds I test, and I never have a problem with that. Here I felt like I was already really stretching my ear canals, so I went with the small, and I don't think these are the most comfortable earbuds to wear, but I am absolutely willing to take the pain. There's no pain, but it's an expression. I'm absolutely willing to deal with it because of this fantastic sound quality. The rest of the ergonomics work very well because the rest of their shape is very reflective of an average person's ear shape. So once you do lodge them in your ear canal, they correspond to the rest of your ear cavity area very well, and they create this flat surface, so they are kind of flush with the rest of your ear and the side of your head. And it also makes it easy to apply controls because of the relatively large area that you tap. And when we're talking about controls, they are very easy and straightforward. The sequence of taps is on the screen. They're pretty responsive, and there's absolutely no problems learning what you can do with these. There is no app. That's another thing that they don't have. KZ doesn't have an app for their wireless earbuds yet, so there's no app support, there's no app control. The only control you can do is through tapping the earbuds. The loudness of these is way up there. You guys ask about this in the comments quite often, so for those of you who find other earbuds just too quiet, you should be in your element here. I can go about 50% of the volume on these with iPhone 16 Pro, with the newer recordings. The recordings that were done maybe 10, 20 years ago are not as loud. Also for comparison, on Moondrop Mocha, I go about 90%. On Technics AZ80, I go all the way to the top, 100%. With these, if I turn them up to around 60, I get to the dangerous area where it just becomes unpleasant. Now, the aesthetics, it's another area that absolutely hits home for me. I just love this understated elegance. There's dark grays, there's black, there's transparency. Honestly, if I was tasked with designing earbuds myself, I wish I could come up with exactly this. I'm not a great designer, but I do appreciate great design when I see it. At this point of the review, you must be wondering what these sound like when you're using them to make phone calls. And to be completely honest with you, I was battling with the idea of not doing the road test, the real life conditions test that I always do. And that's because my main point today is these are for perfect music reproduction and heavenly sounds that are pouring into our ears when you're using them to play music. And it's hard for me to imagine that this particular set would be purchased by someone whose main goal is to use them for phone calls. But since the functionality is there, I thought, why not? Welcome, guys, to David M's real-life conditions test for microphones in earbuds VXS Pro in my ears. I always conduct this test in the same way, starting in an idling car on the side of the road, cracking the windows right now. And I do them this way because in this particular environment right now, it should be very easy for these earbuds to pick up my voice from the surrounding environment because there isn't a lot of noise pollution around me. So if you want to make these two make and receive phone calls, you can. As you can hear right now, the microphone quality isn't bad, but this will change dramatically, I expect. I don't know yet. I have never tested them in this situation before as I start driving. So I'm in second gear right now. Now I'm in third, and I'm introducing a lot of road noise, a lot of engine noise, and most of all, a lot of wind noise coming through this cracked window into the cabin. And one of you said that maybe this is not the best way to test them because you guys don't use them while driving. I know this. I know nobody should use earbuds while driving, and I hope you don't. What I'm trying to do here is recreate conditions that you may encounter during your daily commute or other activities you do in your daily life around town or whatever when there's a lot of environmental noise. And by doing it this way, I can make sure I pretty much have scientific method and I always do the test in the same way and therefore expose all of these tested earbuds to exactly the same conditions. And now that I created this voice sample, I am going to switch to a different pair of earbuds so that we have some comparison. Voice sample number 2 today will be coming from no other than KZ Xtra because a large part of this video today is comparing these two, and I thought it would be a good idea to run this test on both so you guys can actually have these voice samples and exact comparison run on tests performed in exactly the same conditions. So both drives are being done at 50 miles an hour. This is my target speed to which I just got right now. Now I'm traveling at 50 miles an hour with a lot of wind coming into the cabin. And you now can hear the difference between these two and judge for yourself whether VXS Pro is better in terms of processing my voice using the built-in microphones and the algorithm sitting in these earbuds. Are they better than KZ Xtra? Are they worse? Or maybe are they exactly the same and you just don't care because you're buying them purely for their sound quality, which is, as I already said in this video, absolutely the best. One more contender for today. Let's go. KZ Carol in my ears right now, so I'm making it all around KZ Shootout today. There used to be a game on PC, I'm sorry, not PC, on Atari, named Crazy Shootout. Crazy Shootout. Only people as old as myself will remember this. To the young generation, this probably sounds a little crazy. But if you are of that generation, you will feel the nostalgia right now for sure. So this today is KZ Shootout without the R. Anyway, 3 sound samples from the same manufacturer. KZ Carol is not really apples to apples anymore because it's stem earbuds, so a little different. So a little different placement of the microphone, a little different technology. And the quality, that's up to you guys to tell me what you're really hearing in this test and to your judgment. Back in the studio, you guys heard this for yourselves. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, I don't think this is going to be the deciding factor for most of you perfect sound quality chasers, but in case you're planning to use the VXS Pro for an occasional phone call, or maybe phone calls are really important to you, the sound samples are there for your comparison because my goal is to provide useful information. I also want to address this comment on the channel and explain why I will not be adding music to my tests. Number one reason is I want to keep running them in exactly the same way I've been doing this since the very beginning. This creates a consistent, comprehensive library collection of samples of different earbuds. And with time, I'm going to have all of them accessible in a different way. So my goal is to keep building this library, and therefore I need a scientific method that is consistent and the same from earbud to earbud. And number two, I absolutely realize most of you guys don't drive while listening to music in your earbuds. I certainly hope you don't do that. This is dangerous and no one should be ever doing that. But I do think a lot of people might be using earbuds for phone calls in cars if they don't have Bluetooth or their Bluetooth isn't working. And in that case, it is actually increasing your safety, because you should definitely keep your eyes on the road when you're driving. And however you're using your phone should be absolutely hands-free and wireless if possible. So in that case, it's actually really good to have those tests, because I do think they represent conditions in which you're making phone calls very accurately. So now I'm going to mix talking about technology and comparing them to the KZ Xtra, because I know this must be on your mind. How are they really different from the KZ Xtra? So the first and the most obvious difference is they sound even better. Knowledge Zenith, which is KZ on their own website, claim that the quality of these surpasses quality of wired earphones, and I don't know if I agree with this. I have a lot of IEMs that sound absolutely amazing, but they're definitely comparable. They're that good. The drivers, which is the little speaker that sits inside, the very thing that delivers music to our ears, must be different between these two. Both have 10mm driver, but in KZ Xtra, it's a super linear dynamic driver, and in VXS Pro, it's a dual chamber dynamic driver. There you go. They have a different chip on board. VXS Pro has the Qualcomm QCC5171. KZ Xtra has the QCC3091. I don't know exactly what that means. I'm not going to dive into dissecting which chip was made when and what are their exact specifications. Do you guys remember how often I tell you about my dogs barking and how loud they are? There they go. I think we're getting some delivery. So I'm a truthful person. Another difference is that KZ Xtra is truly lossless sound quality. VXS Pro is not lossless. The codecs that are being used are the actual codecs and protocols available and used are LE Audio, Kalimba Audio DSPS, aptX Adaptive, aptX HD, aptX, SBC, and AAC. None of them are truly lossless, and yet it doesn't matter. What human ear is capable of hearing is reproduced so perfectly here. These are just irresistible. Other things that do matter and are worth mentioning is they go for 8 hours, and they can be recharged about 4 times from this tiny little round case. So that makes the total running time without having to recharge the case of 32 hours, which is plenty. I feel like they will get you through your average week. If you have time to listen to more than 32 hours of music during your week, I want to live your life. When you tap either earbud 3 times, it takes you to what they call high performance mode, which is basically the gaming mode, with the latency time of 58 milliseconds. I think that's pretty good for gamers, but if you have an opinion about this, hit me in the comments. Now, when it comes to the case, it's the same as with KZ Carol and KZ Xtra. It's the same exact design, same exact format, transparent cover. I like it. I think it's very functional and very cool, with a little caveat that maybe the surface will scratch and with time it's not going to look so clear, but that is yet to be seen. As far as removing them from the case, I'm wondering if people with Hulk fingers are going to have more trouble. What I recommend is, which may not be that obvious, is simply pulling them down like that, because then they come out pretty easy. Here, check it out. If you try to just grab them and remove them like this, it's not the easiest thing to do. And if that really doesn't work for you, check this out. I'm going to pull the Branon No D test here and see if they do. They fly out pretty easily. Maybe that's not the best method of removing them, but it works. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I hope it gave you enough information to make an educated decision if you were considering purchasing a set of VXS Pro for yourself. And if you do decide to buy them, please use the link in the description. It helps the channel grow, and it helps me create more useful content like this video today.